What does Amanita Muscaria really feel like? And stay with me to the end, because before we talk about what Amanita feels like, we need to understand what it's actually doing. Hey Seekers, if you're new here, I'm Marlucia and I teach the science behind Amanita, specifically Muscaria, Regalis, and Pantherina, the three varieties I work with and deeply trust. Quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe anything. And due to YouTube guidelines and FDA regulations, nothing shared here should be taken as medical advice. The goal is to simplify this path so you feel informed enough to work with Amanita on your own, not rely on someone else to tell you what to feel or how to heal. Let's get into it. Hey Seekers, what does Amanita feel like? It might be the most searched question about this mushroom, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Most people expect me to answer with words like relaxing, euphoric, sedating, or dreamlike. While all of those descriptions can be true, they don't really explain why people experience those things. So instead of starting with the experience, let's start with what we actually know. When Amanita is properly prepared, one of its primary active compounds is Muscimol. Muscimol primarily interacts with the GABA-A receptors in the brain. GABA is your brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, meaning it's part of the system that helps slow things down instead of speeding them up. When that system is influenced, people commonly report experiences such as deep relaxation, muscle relaxation, reduced anxiety, improved sleep, changes in body awareness, vivid dreams, euphoria, altered perception, or at higher amounts, dissociative effects. That brings us to a word I think is often misunderstood: dissociation. Many people hear dissociative and immediately imagine leaving their body or completely losing touch with reality. That's not necessarily what that word means. Dissociation exists on a spectrum. For some people, it simply feels like their thoughts become quieter. Others notice they're less emotionally reactive. Some describe feeling detached from the constant mental chatter that's been running in the background all day. And at higher amounts, people may experience much more dramatic changes in body awareness, perception, or even the way they experience time and space. Throughout history, various cultures have described Amanita as a tool for dream work, spiritual exploration, and shamanic practices. Some have interpreted certain experiences as journeys of consciousness or encounters with the unseen. Whether someone understands those experiences through neuroscience, spirituality, symbolism, or personal belief often depends on the lens they're looking through. Regardless of the interpretation, it's fascinating that so many traditions have associated Amanita with altered states of awareness. What I find even more fascinating is that when people share their experiences with me, they rarely lead with the most intense moments. Instead, they say things like, "I finally slept. My mind finally slowed down. I felt present. I wasn't reacting to everything. I finally felt safe." Those statements may not sound dramatic, but they can be some of the most meaningful changes in a person's experience. I also think it's important to separate effects from purpose. Yes, Amanita is psychoactive, and yes, it's completely natural to be curious about what those effects feel like. Curiosity is often where the journey begins. But over time, I realized the effects weren't the destination, they were the doorway. Once I stopped chasing an experience and started paying attention to what my nervous system was teaching me, my relationship with Amanita completely changed. Instead of asking, "What should I feel?" I started asking, "What is my body showing me?" That one question shifted everything. So, what does Amanita Muscaria really feel like? Scientifically, it supports changes in nervous system activity through its interaction with GABA receptors. Experientially, people describe everything from deep relaxation and restorative sleep to euphoria, altered perception, vivid dreams, and dissociative states. But perhaps the most meaningful feeling isn't any of those. Perhaps it's finally experiencing enough quiet to hear yourself again. I'd love to hear from those of you who've worked with Amanita. How would you describe the experience in just one sentence? Not what you expected, but what you actually experienced. Leave it in the comments below because I think people will discover something beautiful. No two relationships with Amanita are exactly alike. All right, guys, don't you forget it. I love you forever.